The leader of the Booner Pad. I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Welcome to the Crunch Time Sports Show with Jeff Iafrate and Booner on a Wednesday, day of the doc, day of Tyler Conklin as well. We got two big guests joining the show today. New Detroit Lions tight end Tyler Conklin will be joining the show about 8:15. We have the DOC at 8:45 to give us his insights, the NFL free agency. We'll talk with Tyler about his event coming up in June, the Tyler Conklin Foundation, now being a Detroit Lion, coming back home, all the good stuff. And we have new signings to talk about today as well. Greg Dortch, Damone Clark. We'll talk about the additions. And, so a packed show, free agency, and some special guests. So it'll be a good one today.
Yeah, it should be up. I mean, we have a packed show today. I mean, it's the day of the doc, and then also we have Tyler Conklin coming on, which should be fun. Recurring guests, two recurring guests, one being a times 100 recurring guest in the doc, and Tyler Conklin, fourth, fifth time on the show. So I'm pumped up to talk to him. This is the first time we're talking to Tyler Conklin as a Detroit Lion. We've talked to him as a New York Jet, as a Charger. Now it's finally, he's a Detroit Lion. Manifested it feels like.
Yeah, it's nice, man. I can't wait to talk to him. Just get his insight to kind of what happened in LA. What he can bring to the Lions. I know we've spoken about it, man, and his receiving ability, just like what he can add to the tight end room, being with Drew Pett, saying his experience there. So we'll chop it up with him about all that stuff. So it'll be good, man. I mean, they made more signings today. They made one on offense that we haven't even gotten a chance to speak about yet, which Do, appreciate the $5. How y'all feeling about the new signings? Well, let's talk about them. Appreciate the $5. Greg Dortch was signed before the show. Basically the Khalif Raymond replacement, as I'm looking at it, to be honest with you. Khalif Raymond replacement. Greg Dortch getting a one-year deal. He was in Arizona with Drew Petzing the last few seasons, 811 kick return yards, 185 punt return yards. A massive resume when it comes to kick return and punt return. He's been doing it forever. So he actually said, and shout out to Lions Collective, and I didn't get a chance to watch Greg Dortch's press conference or his Zoom call, but I guess he also said what helped him come to Detroit was many things, but one of them, he saw Khalif Raymond left and the role opened up, which he fits in perfectly. So I like this move. I like Greg Dortch. I know Klotz probably likes Greg Dortch. He seems like a Klotz guy, but he's a good fit with this offense. Can help the guys with the terminology. You know, Drew Petzing loves him, and he's a gadget guy. So you're not going to play a ton of snaps on offense, but I can see him being impactful. So I like it. It's a good signing by Brad Holmes here. 1-year deal.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I thought I text you boys today as soon as it happened that it was one of those things where you see Khalif leave and you're a little like, man, that's tough, especially to see him go to Chicago. And a guy like Khalif, who for you is a wide receiver 3-4, maybe 4-ish, more so, but then also, you're all pro, punt returner and kick returner just gone like that. And I know a lot of people were high on some of the younger guys that were potentially going to fill into that spot. But at the end of the day, it's like those guys are only going into year 2, and it's you're trying to win a Super Bowl and leaning on, some, second year guys that don't have many reps. And I think is it Meeks? What was it? Or was it there was another, I don't know why I'm trying to blank. I should have this, to be honest. But that just kind of fumbled it a lot. It felt like in the preseason that was fighting for a job. Dominic Lovett, I believe it was, or Jackson Meeks. I think it was Dominic Lovett.
He was going to get the role.
And then he just kept fumbling, and it was multiple times in the preseason. And it's that's the guy you want Khalif to kind of take over, and he didn't really get that many opportunities. Even think when Khalif was down a couple of games, who stepped up in those spots? It was Tom Kennedy. It wasn't even, Dominic Lovett or Jackson Meeks. So you're sitting there going how comfortable are we really in that wide receiver 4 spot right now? Even on top of how comfortable are you with your returner? And I mean, I would have to say, I would think Greg Dortch, in my opinion, Jeff, I don't know where you're at with it. But I would think of Greg Dortch as an upgrade, and in my opinion, to Khalif Raymond. And it's just based off of one, he's 27 years old compared to Khalif 31. And I know it's only a 1-year deal, but he's a younger guy. When he's gotten the opportunities, man, he's been a playmaker. He's been an absolute playmaker. I think he's had like 1,300 all-purpose yards last year when you count returning and receiving. So I think it's a perfect pickup. And for a 1-year deal, I don't know exactly what Khalif's deal is going to be, but it's just, to me, it's just one of those things where it's like that felt like an upgrade. It feels like a lot of the Brad deals that are getting done. I know a lot of people want these bigger names, but as I'm starting to sit back and watching these happen, he's kind of upgrading majority of these positions, right? And he's doing it, making it younger, and also on cheaper deals, on 1-year deals, to where you're not tied down to guys and you have flexibility in the future. So I think he's killing it so far, man. The Greg Dortch one, when I saw that, I was like, dude, let's go. Like, if you're familiar with Greg Dortch, you're pumped up about this signing.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, Khalif's an all-pro punt returner, but he had a career low last year. And I know, like, you can't all point to just Khalif. I know special teams, like blocking, stuff like that, was off. But Khalif Raymond averaged 7.5 yards per punt return. You know what Greg Dortch averaged last year? He had his
12?
best season, almost 12 yards per punt return on 16 returns. 26.2 yards per kickoff return on 31 returns. Career highs, career best, at least with the, I think both career highs, but especially the punt return. So as good as Khalif was, like, I think he, like you put very nicely, he's getting older. Dortch is younger. He's got familiarity with the offense, which is a bonus. And he kind of slides right into that leaf role, which is like wide receiver 4. You can use him in gadget plays, but he's, I think people forget about the 3 phases of the game. You know, it's clearly important to have offense and defense, but special teams, it felt like last year they had some moments, and I'm glad they're addressing it. Damone Clark we'll talk about at some point as well. Like, he's another addition, so they're definitely prioritizing special teams.
Yeah, and you also, too, a lot of people, if people are like, well, Greg Dortch's production offensively isn't what, like, Khalif's has been. But, like, at the end of the day, like, just look at the kind of the scale of Khalif's last few years in Detroit. You know what I mean? Like, in 2023 and 2022, he had his 2 best seasons in Detroit. Or really, he had a stretch from 21 to 23, some of his best seasons. But since 2022, it's kind of been, a little downhill battle of production, to where it's not the fact that he's not healthy or anything. It's just, now you have Jameson Williams, you had Sam Laporta, you had Jahmyr Gibbs, you had, D-Mont, you had different people to this offense. Now Isaac Tesla, like, you're adding different pieces, and his role was getting less and less. In 2022, he had 47 catches for 600 yards, and then 23 had 35 catches for 480 yards. And then 24, he had 17 catches for 200. And then this year, he had 24 for 280. So, like, his role is starting to go down a little bit. And, like, if you're looking at, like, a Greg Dortch, that's kind of the role he's in, to where it's like around 30 catches in a year, 200 to 300 yards for you. But he knows that his role on this team is, 1, step up when guys get hurt and you're needed in specific moments, but also 2, to give your offense the best field position possible on special teams. And he does that extremely well. Like, he's last year, he's probably his best season, like you said, doing that in the return game. So it's a massive, in my opinion, it's a massive get, especially when you're looking at a guy like Khalif. He probably went to Chicago, 1, money, but 2, wants more opportunity. He wants to continue to have opportunity in the league, where it was going away from that here in Detroit.
He's always been, what I like too about Greg Dortch is he's a yards after catch guy. Even when he does play, he's a big yak guy. I think in 2024, he had 294 yards after catch. And as of week 1 of 2025, he was top 3 on the Cardinals in yak. And he's a total in his career over 950 total yards of yak. So he's a yak machine. I think he's like 5th in yard, like 6.6 average yards per yards after catch, which I think JMO is like 5 or 4, and he's like 6. So it's like you never think about it. You're like, oh, Greg Dortch is up there, but he's a yards after catch guy. And what does this offense like to do? Guys that can make plays.
They're like playmakers, by the way, too. And he's fast, he's explosive. Like, he's an ideal playmaker just to kind of plug and play within this offense. And you try and find guys, I think, that are your wide receiver 3 and 4 that fit to where if an Amon-Ra or J-Mo, knock on wood, go down, you have a similar, I guess, playmaker that can slot in, and with his speed and what he does, like, he's someone that can slot in and make those plays for you if someone goes down.
By the way, Jay Stees, appreciate the $2, says we need Klotz one of these mock draft Mondays. Maybe Klotz can join Friday. We got no Caleb, so we'll see. Klotz will be back. I know he already put in there. Damone Clark and Greg Dortch makes him happy, so that's good to hear from Klotz. He didn't like the Pacheco signing, so that's good news. JJ, appreciate the 5. Did you say you're excited for budget pickups? Yes, when they're better and upgrades than what you have.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, JJ. This is the thing with fans, and especially you're probably one of them.
Appreciate the 5,
yeah, appreciate the money. Thank you for the free $5. Shout out, JJ. But like, this is the problem with fans like you put that stuff in there. You complain that Brad's not making these moves and doing stuff and getting depth in this, and I bet you the last 2 years you've complained about injuries and you've complained that there hasn't been depth. But guess what, JJ? This is part of that. So if you're going to complain about that, when he goes out and gets depth pieces, well, you can give us $5. That's awesome. But don't give us $5 to say something like that, where it's like, oh, well, you guys are really acting like this is a good, like, yeah, it is, because he's like addressing and he's upgrading your second team and your third team, which is something that Brad Holmes just has never done in the past, where he's just stuck with guys and he's like, well, we're just going to bring Davenport back. We're just going to bring this guy back. We're just going to bring this guy back, instead of actually going out there and finding upgrades throughout the whole roster, not just your top 22 guys, but your top 50 guys, right? Your 53 man. So that you got to stop. I think Lions fans, man, and I get it, because I've complained. We've all been there online and on Twitter. But like when Brad is making, like, I text you boys, it's like I do feel like Brad's having a good free agency all of a sudden, and it's because like you were never at the end of the day, and I don't think we on this show were banging the table for Brad to go out there and get $100 million pieces in free agency. It was more so just about upgrading these other pieces and filling the holes. And he has filled majority of the holes. The only hole that's just sitting there right now that you're sitting there waiting for is like that next edge rusher, right? Or another edge rusher. That's it. Like you're not sitting there. I can't. I wish I could sit up here, because weeks ago we were complaining. I wish we could. Brad's slowly proving us wrong and being like, here, boys, I'm actually cooking something nice here. And so, yeah, take a step back.
Yeah. And people, we got to be consistent. If it's not an upgrade and it's a bad signing, we say it's not a good signing. If you sign a player that we believe is an upgrade, I just went through and read off last year return game for both Greg Dortch and Cleef. It's an upgrade. I mean, whether people want to believe it or not. So two things can be true. We can talk about free agency as a whole and talk about the edge position and the defense, but we can also praise the signings that do make sense. You know what I mean? Like Greg Dortch, dude, he was, this guy's running, what was it? Like, what did I just read off? Like a 10 or whatever, average yards per return or whatever. Like, dude, that's better than what you had. Like that's a fact. So,
for sure.
You know,
it's an upgrade. Most of these too, man, they're just upgrades. And it's just, they in the past, it just haven't upgraded, and now they finally are. And I think, I really do think people should be like fired up about all the upgrades.
Yeah, well, let's bring on one of those upgrades, man. Let's bring them on.
Let's go.
Now, new Detroit Lions tight end. This is his, third time joining the show, friend of the show, and now we're excited to have him with the Detroit Lions, Tyler Conklin. Tyler, how we doing, my friend?
Fellas, what up?
Oh, it's good, man. So, number one, I want to make sure we give a proper shout out to you. Welcome back home. You know, now you're back. You know, we talk about. Sure. I'm trying to tell Boone. So Boone's from Imlay City. So I'm Macomb County. We're trying to give Boone like kind of the insight to Macomb. He's liking it a lot. We got Tyler Conklin, Sean Murphy Bunting, another guy from Macomb County.
There's a couple of us.
We're trying to stack them up, dude. I'm trying to explain.
Let's go.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We've got no one out of Imlay City. No. We got David Kirkus, Grand Valley legend.
Shout out to him.
I'm a big Grand Valley guy. Both my parents went there, so I like that.
There we go.
But I guess just to start off, man, and I want to make sure we give a proper introduction to you and start by mentioning your foundation, which, you know, we're going to be at again to cover. And for people that are not familiar, the Tyler Conklin Foundation Youth Football Camp and Community Festival returns June 27th, Lance Cruz High School North. You're an alumni, of course. Full day dedicated for young athletes. My little brother participated. If you have younger siblings, cousins, family members, whoever that are trying to get into football or in football that want to get better, then check out the camp. You can check it out. Tyler Conklin Foundation, led by yourself, special guest athletes, festival atmosphere. We were out there. You had vendors, food trucks, games, and more. Tickets go on sale April 1st, so go check that out. But I guess we'll start with that. How excited are you to kind of run that back? And what did you think of last year's event? We were out there, a lot of people. We had Route God out there. I mean, you had all these people out there doing stuff. So how'd you feel about last year and this year continuing it?
Yeah, I'm excited. Last year was awesome. I mean, obviously we got it like right during the heat wave. I think it was like 95 degrees or something.
Yeah, it was no joke. No joke out there.
Yeah, so that was interesting. Hopefully it's not that hot, and hopefully we get some good weather. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it's even like being home now and playing in Detroit, and like the ability kind of to like really, I feel like, take the foundation to the next level and just do more and more community initiative. We're really excited about the camp on the 27th, and the goal of it really is like, how can we just bring the community out? Like, how can we bring Macomb out? Like, we're just talking about Macomb County. Like, how can we just get people out, whether you have your own small business, whether it's a big business, small business, whether you just want to come out, like if you want to come, set up and be a vendor, if you want to bring your kids up, and we'll have bouncy houses, hopefully dunk tanks and different things. Just try to keep growing it year by year and making the atmosphere that, I want to have fireworks this year at the end of the night. So doing my best to just kind of grow into something that people look forward to coming to at the end of, during the summer. Like every summer, like, oh, this is a good, fun day, a little bit of football, a little bit of community interaction and fun. And that's kind of the goal, just to get people out, get people together and raise some money. And I think outside of that, it's just like I said, it's going to be awesome to be home and be able to really be in the community, right? Like now that I'm here, like when I was going to retire one day or a couple of years, whenever that time comes, I always was going to look forward to doing things back home, whether it's, feeding the homeless or, turkey drives and all those cool things. I always want to do it in like my community where I was from, whether it's like anywhere in Metro Detroit or whatnot. So now being here, it'd be really cool to kind of take those things to the next level and start doing them. A lot of cool ideas and looking forward to the year.
Let's go. I love to hear that. That's actually awesome. Anything you need from us, we're more than help, or we can help out, do whatever.
Yeah,
you
I
need.
appreciate you guys already. I mean, you guys always come out, support, show love. So that's always really appreciated.
Yeah, I was out there. I ran a couple routes last year, so maybe I'll run it back this year. I'll see what I can do. And I do want to ask you though, Tyler, just about the process of free agency. Last year we had you on. We were asking you about the Lions. You were still free agent, I believe, at the time. We were trying to manifest it. And then a year later, you end up signing with the Lions. How did that whole process work? Choosing Detroit, obviously coming back home, but like what was going through your mind this offseason when you had an opportunity to be like, hey, I can go back home and play for Detroit instead of maybe going back to LA or some other, opportunities that you had? Yeah,
I mean, it's been an interesting year and a half in general for football for me, right? Last offseason, coming off a decent season, I had an extension offer to go back to New York. I didn't take it. Went to free agency. Things just kind of fell a little flat for me. And I preface, of course, just blank that out. I'm blanking there. But,
we got you.
I say that because like I just feel like everything kind of weirdly happens for a reason, right? Like I don't take an extension offer. I take less money. I go to LA, kind of in a prove it situation. It doesn't really pan out in LA. And, get to free agency after like not really getting to play or do much last year, right? Going to be, I'm 30 years old. And like the stigma that comes with some of that. And, you get the opportunity to come back here and kind of like a full circle moment of being, back home, playing for the home team. And just like kind of like, I've always wanted to be back and play here. And that opportunity's never really come. And like all these kind of weird moments that at one point, I'm like, man, like, why is it playing out like this? Why is this happening? Et cetera, et cetera. And then you kind of come here in this situation with this opportunity, being back home, all the love, all the support, a good football situation, a good football team, good organization. And it's a good opportunity for me. So I don't know, I'm a believer that like my entire career has been like everything kind of happens for a reason. So, having the opportunity to come back here once, getting a free agency and kind of wondering what that situation was going to be like this year. As soon as we kind of started talking to the Lions, I was like, yeah, like I want to make that happen. Like there's no point to wait around and see what could this be or what could that be. Like if I have a chance to be back home with a good opportunity to, keep playing good football, then I want to take it. So that's kind of how we got here.
Yeah, I mean, I'll listen. You don't got to say it. You can do the PR stuff, and we will say it. You were productive before you got to LA. So we talked about, we talked to you the year heading into free agency. We knew where you were about. You're in New York. In not an ideal quarterback situation, let's just be honest here. And you're still putting up great numbers. and kind of showing people what you can do. So to go to LA and, it just didn't really work out. You weren't really utilized, whatever the case may be, to now being in a better situation where I'm sure Booner's going to ask you more about just the tight end room. But I know it's being tested, essentially what it is. And I know you're extremely hard worker, but what have you kind of learned from that situation? And just how can you kind of use that and fuel you in the right way to kind of head into Detroit and show people that I'm still that guy in New York that was putting up, pretty good numbers. And not that everything's about numbers, but showcase your ability, even though in a year in LA where maybe you didn't get a chance to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, right? Like you said, I mean, my whole career has kind of been like that. College basketball, walk on to Central Michigan. I've always kind of been tested. It's never really been the easy route. It's always kind of been a little bit overlooked. I've always had a chip on my shoulder, and that's all you can do, right? Like just put my head down, work, try to do things the right way. Try to live the right way, try to practice the right way, all those things.
Right.
To be in this opportunity, and like you said, whatever, however it plays out, whatever, I'm gonna control what I can control,
right?
And let the chips kind of fall where the chips fall at the end of the day. And we got a really good room. Obviously, like Sam's a hell of a football player. I'm excited to be able to go out there with him, and just watching him from afar. I was doing an interview the other day, and my tight end coach back in New York, he used to call him La Playa because he just really liked this game. And like I always respected him because there's not a ton of tight ends that do both, right? There's not a ton of guys that block and pass catch and whatnot. And both guys in Detroit do. Obviously Sam's had a hell of a start to his career and does a lot of pass catching, and Brock does a lot more blocking, but they both have the capability to be productive on both in both ways. And I think that fits me perfect, right? I get to come here as an all-around tight end and kind of fit in with that group, and I'm excited what we can do.
Hey Tyler, what do you think about obviously joining our offense like this with Amon-Ra, J-Mo? You just mentioned Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, and then obviously you've played with some good quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers and Justin Herbert. Jared Goff as well. Feels like, at least I do. I'm always out here trying to just stand up for Jared Goff because there's a lot of people who obviously look at like the Patrick Mahomes and these high tier guys and it's like, hey, Jared's in that conversation. What do you think about kind of joining a team like that with a guy like Jared Goff as well and coming in here with all those weapons?
Yeah, I've kind of been saying the same thing from afar, right? I've already talked about it, but like I didn't grow up a Lions fan, so I'm not going to sit here and act like it, right? There's enough media out there in the past for someone to call me out on that. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I just grew up a Lions fan. But over the past, really since Coach Campbell's got there, I just always really like enjoyed watching the process and enjoyed watching what they're building. And then, my couple years in New York, obviously we were done. We were in the playoffs. We were done pretty early. So, I had the opportunity to just really like, in a sense, just like root for the hometown team, right? Like a lot of my best friends are huge Lions fans, and just like watching what it does for the city, like the community, the people, it just does so much. And being someone that's always going to live in Michigan and in the Metro Detroit area, like how could you not want your hometown teams to do good and be good? And so now to be able to come home and be a part of that, and you kind of feel like you're missing out, right? Like you see like Detroit's doing good as a city, the food scene's getting better, all these things are just getting better. Like people enjoy being here. So from afar, you're kind of missing out on that. So now that like it all comes together and I get to be here and be a part of that, and the opportunity to help this team do something special that's never been done, like that'd be a dream come true.
I want to ask you, Tyler, the connection you have with Drew Petzing. Ben Johnson left, people pissed off. He goes to Chicago, and it didn't really work out with John Morton, who was the offensive coordinator. But they bring in Drew Petzing from the Arizona Cardinals, and we got a chance to talk to Drew Petzing down in Indianapolis for the NFL Combine, and we got to meet him. It might be looking down at the guy. He's a smaller dude, but he's got a lot of passion for football, and he's a hilarious actually guy to talk to, a super chill guy. So just from your experience, I think you guys crossed paths in Minnesota, correct? He was assistant wide receivers coach over there.
Yeah.
What do you know, and what's your relationship been, if it's strong or not? And then how excited are you to be kind of back with Drew Petzing as an offensive play caller?
Yeah, one thing I missed the first response to the last question. I do think Jared Goff is one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. And I've always defended him also behind the scenes just because he has way too much hate. I felt the same way about Justin Herbert. But Jared Goff, I think the numbers speak for itself, the way the Lions offense has been, the way, all those things. And that's kind of just a problem with social media nowadays. But everybody kind of has their opinion, and whether it's a good one or not, whatever, we're all allowed to have an opinion. So sorry about missing that. And then back to Coach Petzing. Yeah, so when I got drafted in Minnesota, he was the assistant wideout coach. I've had the ability to kind of talk to him since going on my visit Friday and being in the building a little bit. And obviously just kind of obviously knowing that the Cardinals, I think last year they were number one in the league in 13 personnel, and being in Minnesota and then following Coach Stefanski to Cleveland and knowing how Coach Stefanski does stuff and kind of the tree he was brought up in. It's just a tight end heavy scheme, right? You rely on him to do a lot of things in the pass game and the run game, and if you have capable players that can go and do those things, like, you're going to have a role. And I think that's, as a tight end, that's exciting, right? Especially with the group we have of, multiple guys that can do a lot of different things. So, I think it's a really exciting situation to be a tight end.
Hey, what do you think, Tyler? I don't know if you saw, we posted the video last year, you talking about Dan Campbell and how you had the workout with him coming out of Central with the Saints. You were talking about that, and now you're finally getting to be able to play for Dan Campbell, tight end, former tight end. How do we feel about that? Have you had anything with him the last week since you've signed? Have you spoke with Dan? And if so, is there any, like, how are we just feeling about the Dan Campbell thing? I feel like it just fires anyone up. Talking about
it's hard to not be fired up. It's hard to not be fired up by him. But so Friday on my visit, we talked to him. That was like one of the main things we talked about. Just a full circle moment. Like, I'm going on year 9. He's the head coach of the Detroit Lions, and last time I seen him or talked to him was 9 years ago in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, at whatever, 7, 8 in the morning when we were going through a tight end workout, and he was the, tight end coach for the New Orleans Saints. So, but then, like, also being in Detroit and Washington, it's almost like you feel like you feel like him, right? There's so much media and so much stuff going on. So it's like, I met this guy, we did a workout, and I wanted to go to New Orleans, and I was like, I was hoping they drafted me, and they didn't. And then he becomes the head coach here, and I'm like, everybody's like, what the heck, a tight end coach? He's gonna be our head coach. I'm like, oh, dude, he's awesome. Like, from my small interaction with him, like, he's awesome. And then to go and do what he's done here, first of all, it makes me feel smart because, like, I was on his side before, telling everybody, hey, it's a good hire. And then having this full circle moment and the opportunity to come back here and, like, knowing what he's about, and I just feel like I match what what the Lions have from a character standpoint as a team and what he's looking for. So I don't have enough good things to say about, Coach Campbell or, really about the entire situation.
Yeah, you are. I mean, you're a great fit in the room. I'll say that. We're excited to have you, man. We're excited to watch you. I mean,
I just want to real quick, Tyler, you played at Northwood, didn't you, basketball for a year?
Yeah, for a quick half a year semester.
You know Darv and Maurice and them, Maurice Jones?
Yeah, I play with Darv and Maurice. So
hey, two dogs, man. I'll tell you what. I coached with Maurice with Darv.
Social media the other day. I mean, when I first got to Northwood, Mo was like I thought he was like the coldest basketball player I've ever seen play. Like, I thought it was unbelievable. And I remember seeing him in high school, especially that 2011 class with like Ray McCollum, Keith Appling, and him.
Man.
And so like getting to play with him randomly, after whatever leaving USC and coming Northwood, I thought that was a really cool, like, I guess, sports moment in my career. Like, I remember watching him in high school and thinking about how good he was, and like randomly playing with alongside him at Northwood. And then Darv was kind of like my like when I first got to Northwood, Darv was like kind of like the person I feel like that they wanted me to like be like he was like my like older like mentor. Obviously that didn't play out like that, and I left pretty quickly. So whatever, but he was just like I still talk to him to this day, like here and there, whether it's Instagram. I talked to him the other day. So yeah, two kind of random.
Hey, Darv's a legend. I coached with Darv for a year at Saginaw Valley basketball. So. He's a legend. And Maurice, by the way, too, just so you mentioned that, hey, Maurice might have had, like, he might have been the greatest Pac-12 freshman of all time at USC. And elite. Like, people don't know Maurice Jones.
I just think back to that high school class, though. Like, that was just such a good, like, I was a big Keith Appling fan back then, too. Like, I thought Keith was sweet. I remember watching him playing at Breslin and scored 49 as a junior. And, so I was at that game, like, oh, man, he's a monster. And then there was, like, a game, I think their senior year, they played against each other at Arthur Hill. And I was like, oh man, like this is, this is a cool class. Like, those three guys, like Ray McCollum, him, and Keith. I'm like, wow, that's like really, and they're all like a couple of McDonald's All-Americans out of Michigan, and so small world. Darv's that guy.
He is. I love Darv. He's helped me out a lot when I first started doing things. So I respect Dar. He's my guy.
Shout out Dar.
Yeah, you got to get to a Pistons game now. I mean, they'll get you on that jumbotron.
I'm going to one on Monday. I'm about to go watch the Lakers Pistons game on Monday.
Oh, what a good game to be at too.
Yeah,
yeah, that's perfect.
Gotta go see Brian play.
Yeah. Hey, about LeBron, but also, hey, Tyler, Luka too, man.
Sorry, yeah, K and Luka, yeah.
I
gotta like talk about from the Detroit standpoint too of like, damn, I am. So I can't like, but you know, Bron's getting up there. You just don't know how many more he's got, right? So it's like, if you get a chance to go see him, like, who knows?
Hey, he's the GOAT, man. I know people they give.
Yeah, I talked about in an interview earlier. Like, he's my favorite player. Like, but I'm okay with making like him, Kobe, and Jordan like all 1A, 1B, 1C. Like, I'm done arguing. But LeBron's mine.
I'm so happy you threw Kobe in there, man. No one ever throws Kobe in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're the best three, hands down. We were talking about Mount Rushmore the other day, and I'm like, who's there? Who's your number 4? And I'm like, it's either got to be like Magic because he's from Michigan, or Larry just because he's a white guy up there. Like, it's got to be you know, like
hooping like what he was doing now. Look at the game now. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, it's just a different game. Like, you talking crap, you know, never gets enough love.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, it was. I'm excited to go watch that game, and it's just cool. All the Detroit teams are good. Everybody's doing
perfect time
for playoffs and doing different things. So like, just a really cool time for Detroit sports.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it is, man. It's perfect. It's all like you said. It's full circle. It's like perfect time.
Yeah, it's just like weirdly working out, and like, now I'm just gonna do what I do and let it fall how it falls.
Hey, perfect time to win a Super Bowl too, back in the hometown.
Man, like, I was like, that would be unbelievable. That would be like a book, you know? Like, how could you couldn't draw that thing better. If I could come out here and, you know, go, you know, get at least 2 years and get me to year 10 and win a Super Bowl and retire a line, I mean, that would be, you know, let's not get ahead of ourselves, you know, let's be present day by day and just let it fall, you know, fall how it falls, but man, that'd be pretty damn cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you be present. We'll start thinking about that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you got to still manifest it a little bit.
Yeah, you got it.
And we manifested you to Detroit last year. We're going to do that for a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, let's just stay here in the Super Bowl. Yeah. I hate talking about Super Bowls this early in the year, but we all want one.
Yeah, it's got to be in the back of your mind, like every offseason. I think
it's in the back of everybody's mind, but it's just at the same time, it's like everybody wants one. Everybody like talks about it. It's just more. Really be the guy that goes and like tries to have actions about it than to talk about it, you know?
Yeah. And I'm excited for you because like this is another thing I'll say. Like in New York, you weren't thinking. I mean, I don't know. You could be.
No, there's not. Yeah, I mean, it's a different situation in New York. Like, I love
which I'm excited
in New York.
for.
I really did. Like, great people, great coaches.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't just a different time. It's just different. You know,
different.
The organization and winning football games was, you know, we weren't doing a bunch of it at the time.
Yeah, it's harder to come by.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you, bro. We'll catch you at the event in June. And then we're actually, we talked to Gentry earlier. We're going to send you some gear as well. So we're working.
I sent him my address and stuff. So
yeah, we're going to take care of you, man. We appreciate the hell of you. Good luck with everything, and we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
All right, appreciate you guys. Thank you.
There you go,
Tyler
Conklin joining the show, talking to the fellas here. New Detroit Lions tight end, dude. Shout out to
Legend,
him. Always
dude.
Cool. Always shows. And by the way, like people, you see like NFL players, and I know we've gotten a chance to meet a lot of different NFL players, and we go to Indy and we get to speak to a lot of different people. Like Tyler, for where he comes from, which is, Macomb County. It's where I'm from as well. Like one of the most down to earth dudes, no doubt. Like he
just one of the boys for real.
Respect.
Yeah.
So he's a cool ass dude, man. Lions got a good one. They really do.
I'm fired up for that tight end room, to be honest, from top to bottom. Sam Laporta, Tyler Conklin, Brock Wright. Like I feel like last year you didn't really even know. You had like those tight end battles with Shane Zylstra kind of in there and all that. Who was the your boy? Not your
dude,
boy.
He didn't even get to.
His name was your boy.
Yeah, they signed him and he got hurt in the preseason.
Yeah, so like you had that, but I think now it's like, you could bring any tight end you want. You know who your three guys are. And especially like, do you remember they even had that? What's that one dude's name from last year? He was just like the most random player, but they just had to use him because Shane Zylstra was hurt, and they were running. You had some. You needed a third tight end, and then Sam Laporta goes down. You need a second guy, and then
Anthony Ferguson.
It was him for a little bit, but it was a different dude that like could play fullback and I don't even know, man. But I'm just glad that now, like in Detroit, like a team that like uses tight ends, we have like a solidified three guys, which is like it should fire people up. And I genuinely feel, and I'm not just saying it because we have T-Conk on the show. It's more so like he can be productive. Like he's productive. You saw it 2 years ago in New York, and you've seen it in Minnesota. It was just like last year was just one of those. You see it all the time with NFL players, like one of those years. So it kind of fires you up a little bit to get a guy like that can be productive. Like,
Now,
I want to be. I mean, actually, I won't say it. No, I don't know if I should say it, to be honest. Should I say it? Maybe not. I don't know.
What? No,
I just like I don't want to like. I would bet on Tyler Conklin having more receiving yards than Brock Wright next year.
That's what you were waiting on?
I just didn't know. I didn't know if people would be like mad about, because dude, there's people in Detroit who love Brock Wright.
Like, dude.
I've ran Zach Corton, by the way, is the name. Dude, I've ran across people who like love Brock Wright, like online, and Brock
Wright can block,
and he's a great blocking tight end.
He can't.
But like, I feel like
as a receiving
Conklin could come in next year and there's clear Brock Wright in catches and yards, like clear. Yeah. And like have a way more productive year. And like last year in LA, like you mentioned it with them, like they underutilized Conklin every way, it felt like, right?
And they had a rookie they were using a lot more.
Yeah, and it's like this is an offense where he can come in. Tyler can block, but also like if his number's called to make plays, like he can do that too. And you've seen in years past. And Brock Wright's number's been called and he hasn't been able to make plays. Even like you got to think, dude, Laporta was down all year last year. Brock Wright, and I'm not going at, I'm just saying, like, he only had 100 yards last year. And that's with Laporta out.
Well, he got hurt. He played 2 games and then he got hurt, or a game or two. And those games he played, dude, like he had like 7 targets, 2 catches. Like he wasn't that good. Like he just isn't a receiving tight end. Like they need a guy who can run routes and get open. And Tyler Conklin can do that. You know what I'm saying? He can do that. He's done.
Can do that. And he can
how
do
many tight ends are getting
at a higher level?
I mean, dude, he can get 600 yards when he's targeted and get 60 catches on 700 with 600 yards, whatever it is. Like, dude, like Brock Wright, all due respect, like he can block, whatever. He ain't sniffing that. You know what I'm saying? Like Tyler Conklin right now is the second best tight end in that room. Like there's not even a debate, in my opinion. Like he's just not.
I mean, put it into context a little bit. I mean, as much as we talk about, Conklin or last year, he had the same amount of yards as Brock Wright. And Brock Wright had 22 targets. Tyler had 10. So, and they had the same amount of yards. Yeah, so put into perspective. And again, Tyler can block too. So I feel like he's going to go in there and kind of take over that.
If you're unfamiliar, by the way,
over that tight end position.
If people are unfamiliar, just go watch him with the Jets with like Zach Wilson and, you know what I mean? Like Aaron Rodgers.
With Rodgers for the year. Yeah.
But like even before Aaron Rodgers, he's putting up 500, 600 yards with Zach Wilson. Like go watch it.
Yeah.
Go watch that, dude. Like,
before last year, he had 4 straight years of 50 plus catches. 2 of them had 60 catches or more. 3 or 4 touchdowns every year, at least 500 yards each year. Like very, 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 very productive player.
Yeah. And he just said the Jets wanted to keep him. Like,
yeah, he said he had an extension, and it was probably, it sounded like it was a multi-year extension. Because he said he took a shot on a 1 year in LA.
Yeah, which the business is tough, man. I mean, you leave, you take a 1 year with a contender, and they don't even utilize you like that. Yeah. Like he gets banged up. I know he was banged up a little bit, but they didn't really. They had Gadsden, the tight end out of Syracuse. They just used him, and Tyler didn't really get any opportunities. But like that's
I'm sorry, I didn't know if that was like a big thing to say. I didn't want to go at Brock or anything. That's why I was like, there's a lot of people who like Brock.
That's not a hot take.
I just wanted to throw it out there. That's like I do feel like Conklin could end up being, or probably will end up being, in my opinion, tight end too, and have more, a lot more yards and targets than Brock Wright.
Yeah, and they might even still draft another tight end, and that tight end could beat out Brock Wright. I mean, who knows? And I think Sam's actually right, to be honest. I didn't think about this. They gave Brock like $4.5 million a year.
Do they? Well, the only reason they did it was because
they matched the 49ers.
I think he was a restricted free agent, and the 49ers offered him, and the Lions were like, we don't want him to walk.
I don't know if that one $4.5 million. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, give that contract to Conklin. They do have an out in 2026. It says here. Which is now, right? It is 2026. Yeah, they could opt out of his deal and save about $4 million. They could save half of the contract if they do. So maybe I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they brought Conklin in to kind of to switch roles there.
By the way, I didn't get your thoughts and my thoughts on this signing. They brought in Damone Clark, the linebacker, former, by the way, like this is some insight to my knowledge of Damone Clark. I had Damone. I used to love Damone Clark coming out of LSU. And I at the time, I think the Lions, they didn't even have Jack Campbell. It was just like, I think it was Anzalone and maybe just Anzalone and like Rodriguez. I don't even know if Anzalone was there. I'm trying to think of the year it was, but I kept having him to the Lions in like the 4th and 5th round. So coming out of college, I really liked Damone Clark.
Yeah.
And it just didn't really work out, in his career so far. He was a starter for 1 year in like 2023. He was okay. He made some plays, but he didn't show enough to be a consistent starter. But one thing he's carved out though, Booner, is special teams role. Like he's up there in tackles on special teams. So he's been a big special teams contributor. And in my opinion, it's a younger version with some upside of Grant Stewart. Seems to be probably cheaper as well. So this is basically your Grant Stewart replacement. I don't know if anyone has any expectations for him, to be honest. So I wouldn't even look at him as like, ooh, they're bringing in Damone Clark to play. Like he's a special teamer. He's good depth. He's 25 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like he still has some upside. If he hits it, he hits it. If he doesn't, he's a special teamer. So,
yep.
It was the same year as Rodrigo. Thanks for that, MD. So it was the same year they drafted Rodrigo. Then that was the year I had him.
Yeah, I think it was 2022 NFL draft, and I'll give you
had no linebackers, literally no linebackers.
And I'll give you a little context to that, and I want to pull it up here real quick just so I'm a little more accurate with it. I believe the Lions had I'm looking at it now. They had pick 177 overall, which was 5th round pick. The pick right before it, which they picked tight end, coincidentally, James Mitchell at 177 in the 5th round. The pick right before at 176, the pick before the Dallas Cowboys took Damone Clark, one pick before the Detroit Lions. So I don't know if that would have, if the Cowboys didn't take him at 176, the Lions get him at 177. Don't know. We'll never know. But I do think this is, in my opinion, and told you earlier today, Jeff, I think this is just and I tweeted out as soon as it happened, I was like, I know exactly what this is. And I went to PFF and looked at snap counts. I put it on my Twitter, and I'll pull it up so I get accurate numbers for you. This is a Grant Stewart replacement. And that's and it's not a bad thing either. I don't want people to think like, hey, it's a bad thing, but like it's not a bad thing. Like these are guys again that you need to replace. Like Grant Stewart, you let walk, and everyone's like, oh, well, what are you doing, Brad? You need a linebacker, right? You need a special teams captain. You need a guy. Like you could just look at the snap counts here. Like in 2025, Clark had 420 total snaps. Over 300 of them were on just special teams alone with the Cowboys and the Texans. He played for both teams. So he's a special teams guy right now, and he can fill in and defense if you need him. And it's just similar to Grant Stewart, where you see down there, like 375 special team snaps this last year. Clark, 313. So that's kind of the role I think they're trying to look to fill. And obviously it's always good. And we know this in Detroit, man, after the injuries and things we've endured the last 2 years, dude, it's always good to have linebacker depth, especially with a Kelvin Shepherd defense, former linebackers coach who, kind of lives and dies the last 2 years we've seen, with having guys in that room and adding them to a room with, Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, Rodrigo, Trevor Nowaski, and now you add Damone Clark, dude. I think it's a good signing. I just don't think people you should expect this to be like I said. People started tweeting at me and be like, "Well, look what Anzo was before he got here. Like, don't sleep on Damone Clark." Dude, please, can we just again? It's like the conversation earlier in the show about Greg Dortch. Like, can we please stop complaining when they sign good depth pieces, and can we stop acting like these depth Damone Clark's going to be a Jack Campbell first team all pro. Like, don't put that on these guys, because then you're going to complain about them at some point this year. But he's going to step up at times this season and make good plays for you when needed. And if a guy goes down, so I'm fired up. I do like the signing. I think it's a great depth signing.
I think me and you are on the same page with this stuff, dude. Like, this is why people are like, you guys are just liking these signings, which is ironic because last week I was being too negative. So you never make everybody happy. But the thing I find very, like, it's just funny to me is, you have this crowd of people that, might see DJ Wanham and be like, this guy is just as good as Cam Jordan, or, they're trying to make the argument he's Joey Bosa. That's not what we're doing. Now, if you want to go at those people and say you guys are just over-analyzing and trying to pump up a player that's not quite as good as the player you're comparing him to, you guys are just, drinking the Kool-Aid, whatever. All we say is we're comparing the signing to who the player they're replacing. Like, for example, Damone Clark to Grant Stewart. We're not saying Damone Clark is a freaking starter. He's literally a depth piece that's an upgrade over Grant Stewart. That is it. You have to look at it in a vacuum. People are like, if you like a signing, they're assuming you're saying Damone Clark is Roquan Smith. It's the same thing with Greg Dortch. Greg Dortch to Khalif Raymond. I brought up the stats of why Greg Dortch last year was better on special teams than Khalif Raymond. He's an upgrade on special teams. He's younger, familiarity with the offense. That's all he is. He's a wide receiver 4. But if people hear it and they see you like it, they're just going to assume you say the guy's freaking, one of the Devin Hester. It's like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, we got to really pay attention and really process what we're saying here. Because if the Lions are not good enough, then they're not good enough. For example, Larry Borum to Decker. They downgraded. Larry Borum is not good enough. They have a gaping hole at tackle.
And that's why we thought they were going to add another tackle or in the first round.
We're calling it as it is. That's a fact. Like, Borum is not an upgrade to Decker. He's a downgrade. They have a big hole at tackle. That's a fact. Greg Dortch can be a good player if utilized correctly in a special teams role. That's a fact. So I just want to make that point. It's like there's these two. Remember we talked about it. Two sides. People think Damone Clark could be like Roquan, and then some people are like, who cares? Yeah. It's like, dude, they have to sign special teams players. You know what I'm saying? You got it.
That's what I told Flannel yesterday. It feels like I told Flannel, like Flannel was mad at us, or said, I got a bone to pick with you guys. It's like, what bone? Like, we're not saying he's going to be great. And shout out Flannel. I know you're watching, Flannel. I love you. But Flannel comes in yesterday acting like we were like saying he's like the next greatest piece of all time, like these DBs or these guys. It's like, dude, no one's saying that. It's just, so a lot of people in your heads, you guys hear one thing and you're like, you over exaggerate it the one way that you want it to be over exaggerated. And Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong with this. My thought process going into this offseason was never go sign the top 5 best players in free agency. And that's never the expectation that it was for Brad. It was upgrade these, again, just like I said before Conklin hopped on the show, it was like upgrade the positions that are holes, right? You have holes. You need to get better players in there. I think the 2 nickels that they brought in, essentially, those guys to me is an upgrade from Amik. And whether you think so or not, at the price range, in the amount of, the years on those deals, that's an upgrade to me. And that's a swing from Brad Holmes, where Brad probably took a chance to be like, I hope we can get these guys and if we're going to let Amik walk. And he did it, and I think he swung and he hit a double. Like, I'm not gonna say he had a home run because we haven't seen the guys play yet, but he hit. He got an infield hit, and it's like, okay, dude, like there we go. And it's the same thing with with Tyler Conklin in the tight end room. It's the same thing with the edge rusher that you got with DJ. Like, these moves are just moves where you're like, okay, Brad, like this is actually these are moves that we were talking about doing. And I know some of these names aren't like the pretty names that everyone wanted. And I still think that there's an opportunity to go out and get the Joey Bosa or the Cam Jordan or, some of these.
They have to. I think they should.
Me too. And I think they still do. I don't think they're done yet. I don't even think they're close. They have 3. With that signing, they have 3 edges, right? They need 4 or 5 more. And I just think people need to realize, like what I saw today? I saw a Twitter account. I don't even know what the Twitter account is, but it's like every time someone else signs to a different team, like an edge rusher or a linebacker or something, they're like, oh, like Lions were never gonna, like, this guy, like, how are they missing out? Like, do you want the Lions to sign every single player that's on the free agent list? Are we gonna react to that every single time? And that's the thing that I can't stand. Like, I cannot stand.
I think some of it's fair. No, I don't think if you're doing it to
some of it, but when it's like, hey, every single player at the position you're mad about, it's like, you can't do it. And just because he doesn't get a guy that you want doesn't mean it was a bad signing. Like, do your due diligence, do the homework, and see what it is first, right? Like these DBs that he got, feels like right away everyone was just mad about it, just to be mad about it, because you didn't go out and get the big names when the Rams did. Come on, man. Like, you ask Brad to make these moves, and then he starts to do them, and then you get mad because they're not the ones that you like, and you only had, the ones that you liked is like tunnel vision. You only liked like 2 or 3 at each position. Like, why didn't you become Jason Williams, become white chocolate, see the full court, open your court vision up a little bit? Come on now.
Yeah, like I think, and I said, I saw what Rasheed Walker got, like 4 or 5 million, whatever. Like, that's frustrating as a starting tackle. Like, there's some
I think there's some that are very fair, Jeff. I do.
It to be like, hey, we don't have a tackle right here on March 18th. Maybe Brad misread the tackle market a little bit. Like, that's fair, but I get what you're saying, where it's like every single dude that doesn't even fit the Lions they're just complaining about, which, like, I understand. But yeah, like, there's still, dude, trust me, like, if we end the free agency and DJ Wanham's your starting edge, like, I have a problem with that, and that's a whole nother thing to address. But we're not there yet. Braden Smith, another one, Steve Wilds. Like, I thought they should have forked the money for Braden Smith. You gave almost $5 million, up to $5 million for Larry, but you couldn't pay double for a starting caliber, good right tackle. So I understand the frustrations, but it's like, you can't be positive and say you like a signing. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Before the doc comes on, I just wanted to tell the people we have 175 in here just right now. There's 150 plus people in here. I know 80% of the people in this chat are listening to us right now. I know you have some sort of ESPN bracket. I'm going to drop the link for our group in our comment section. All you have to do is click the link. You've probably already made an ESPN bracket. You just add your bracket. Well, you get one bracket. Just add your favorite bracket in there, and first place gets a Lions jersey, and second and third place get a free piece of merch from us. So make sure, I'm going to drop the link. Just it takes 10 seconds. Just go. We want to get as many people as we can in our bracket challenge. I think last year we had almost over 100 people in the bracket challenge, and we did it for a Lions jersey.
Yeah, we should have a minimum. I mean, if more people sign up, like, we got to have a lot of people in here doing it. We'll try and get as many people on here as possible. So throw in. There's
180 people in here. We should be able to get 100 entries by the end of this show.
All right, let's bring on our good friend here, Detroit Lions reporter, beat writer, jack of all trades. I mean,
yes,
you can check him out, Detroit Lions, all Lions on Sports Illustrated. Host of the Lone Wolves podcast, does YouTube as well. You can check out his content. I'm sure he has a lot to say. Last time we talked to Doc, a lot has happened. So let's bring him in and talk to him. How we doing, the DOC, John Maakaron? How we doing?
Another free agency period. The older you get, I thought I'd be wiser, but the whites are whiter, and I'm a little tired, but I'm liking. I understand the angst that's happening.
What does that mean, Doc?
It's a grind. You guys are. It's a grind.
Yeah, that felt bad to say. What is it? What was it?
Oh, you're talking about the.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
I've never seen so many white hairs in my life. I can't believe how old I feel. But
we need to get you a Just for Men kit.
Yeah, I want to do it, but I think I would look really, really weird with all black now. I like it. It's just that feeling you get. It's grinding, I feel like the vet. But luckily, on Sports Illustrated hasn't made me a replacement yet, a vet replacement with a young cat. So I'm very happy. And last week was good. Free agency treated me well, and I'm very happy to talk about it with you guys.
Well, I guess we'll start, Doc, and just kind of get your opinion before we get into like the specifics. How are you feeling now in your second week of covering free agency, just with what the Lions are doing, the game plan, how Brad Holmes is approaching free agency? Like, since we last talked to you, has it improved? Has it gotten worse? Where are you at, Doc, mentally with all this?
Yeah, no, it's good. Here's the thing. It's simple. And I want to take you back. I just said it on the podcast before I hopped off at 7:59 because I honor our fair agreement. And which is good in that, remember 2024, all the hype that was surrounding the Lions, every outlet, ESPN, Sports Illustrated, everybody was talking about the Lions being Super Bowl favorites. It was fun. It was exciting. It brought everybody to that zenith of like, man, we are the talk of the league. And 24 and the 2025 season didn't go right. And now we kind of want that back. I want it back. And so when Brad Holmes used this word, we are going to evolve. what many of us subconsciously hoped. And remember, I fall for it too. Remember, we all do it. We all have these inner thoughts in our brain. I do it too. I was hoping evolve meant we are going to modify our free agent strategy to bring in more impact guys. And that's not what happened. And so what happened was the word evolve, we all figured out meant younger and cheaper. And that doesn't necessarily equate to potentially better. Now, it could, but you get what you pay for in the National Football League. Cade Mays, the Lions invested in. I think if the chat will, you guys check, the rest of the guys, all 1-year deals, all of them. And so I said on the podcast, that's kind of how teams act after they win a Super Bowl. They get rid of all the veterans. Nobody gets paid anymore. What happens is this fan base was hoping that you would get maybe 2 or 3 known impact guys. Instead, you're getting sort of replacements for the guys that, and almost a 1-to-1 ratio of the guys that left. And listen, I'm not going to begrudge anybody. It's a little underwhelming from the fan perspective that you go, wait a minute, is, this new linebacker better than Alex Anzalone? Is this new defensive end better than Al-Quadin Muhammad? The numbers don't exactly dictate that, but, by and large, we all got to get it through our thick skulls. The impact is from the draft. But remember, those of us that are skeptical go, you guys all told me 3-4 years ago that if you draft well, you get sustained success. I don't see sustained success in the final report cards. I see NFC Championship game, first round loss, upset to the Commanders, and not making the playoffs and a shit ton of injuries. So pardon me for being a little skeptical that I just want a couple guys that I know are a little bit more impactful. And if you want names like a Leo Chanel or a Nick Cross or a Walker, like you guys said, for $4 million, a couple guys that you think maybe are a little bit better than what you're getting. Right now, there's a little bit of hope that's taking place because these guys are guys that basically the Lions are hoping, hey, you got cast off, come try here and earn a second contract. But guess what? Roy Lopez earned a second contract and he went somewhere else. I could argue Al-Quadin. You could have signed Al-Quadin and this guy that you brought in from Carolina. And I just never like it, guys, when the joke is after you sign a player, I don't want him. That's what it is.
What do you think?
You get it?
Sorry, my internet's killing me over here. My bad, guys.
You good?
Can you guys hear me?
Wait, do we lose you, Boone? Are you good now? What's going on?
Can you hear me?
Look, brother, this is perfect. Fade away, brother. Fade away into the background, brother. Best look.
Am I good? Can you guys see me?
Yeah.
Am I alive? Oh my Lord. I was like talking as the dog was going. I was like 20 seconds behind. And I'm not even on the YouTube. I'm like on the straight link. Doc, I just wanted to ask you, what was out of the free agents that have been hired, and we can go into specific guys here as we go throughout the show tonight, because we have a lot of time here. But can I just get like your one favorite free agent signing so far that you think is going to fit the best within this Lions team? Whether it's defense, offense, whatever, signing outside of, actually, let's take out like Cade Mays, like more so of these recent signings since we've seen you last time, the 2 DBs, linebacker, the edge rusher. What's been your most favorite signing you think that's going to actually fit really well here within this system?
Yeah, no doubt. I like the recent signing of Dortch. I think that's a nice replacement for Khalif Raymond. I think that he can have an impact. He knows Drew Petzing. I do like the signing of the linebacker as well, Damone Clark. There's obviously a tie. When you have a tie to the defensive coordinator, I think that, people were linking him to the Lions. I think he went 1 pick before the Lions. So I think there was a natural connection there. So I'm okay with it. And I look at it from the perspective of, I also value and respect the players that were here. So there is value in seeing what Alex Anzalone was doing in coverage, Al-Quadin Muhammad, even though you might say he might not produce at the same level, he did record 11 sacks. And maybe he records 8. Those are 8 sacks that you got to replace. Maybe you get those from Tyleik Williams, Ali McNeil, and the new player Wanham. But I'm interested to see how the puzzle fits. So it's fair. It's understandable. But the question mark is when you just also compare what Houston did and the Rams did. you realize that teams are maybe starting just a little bit ahead, but the Lions still have the draft to be able to catch up. And that's where Brad does his best work, hopefully, but he's putting a lot of pressure on himself. He has to nail this draft and get probably 3 to 4 players that are going to compete strongly to fill some needs. And that's at safety, because Daniel Thomas just left the building. You recognize that a sneaky signing, I do think that he'll have a chance, but it's a tough position, is Roger McCreary. I think he's, somebody that does well in press man corner coverage. He's okay. But here's the problem. When you turn on the tape and see what goes on in zone, it's a little bit of an up and down nature in terms of his play. So every player has certain holes. That's why they didn't get long-term commitments everywhere. But what the Lions are counting on yet, and I'm skeptical of it, but I want to see it. They can prove it. They're looking at the sum of all the parts together as a puzzle, and they're saying, hey, if we get younger with more competition, we can get better. But fair signings, but nobody's going to give it more than a C+, B- overall for all the signings.
No, I guess I'll ask you, Doc, because we saw, and we talked about this a little bit, and I'm sure we'll revisit some of the players that they signed. But you see, like Rasheed Walker go for a cheap contract. Braden Smith, I thought the Lions could have been in on him as a starting right tackle. Like, do you think Brad Holmes maybe misread the tackle? And I'm not saying it's just Brad Holmes, by the way, because remember before heading into free agency, a lot of people thought like all these tackles were going to get a bunch of cash. Like Walker was going to get like $20 million per year. I remember we were talking about him and we were like, oh, he's out of the Lions price range. And then, free agency happens and these tackles are not getting that much money. I think the NFL just misread the tackle market, but do you think maybe Brad included in that? Because they signed Larry Borum and we don't think he's a starter, I don't think right now. So it's a massive hole in this offense. Do you think that had maybe a misread on Brad's part there, not signing a left tackle starter before you go into free agency or the draft?
Yeah, no, look, I think that you still got to remember, too, that they have Miles Frazier, they have Juice Scruggs, and there's going to be some competition there. So I feel like, it was a player maybe they feel like wasn't exactly the right fit, and maybe they just had a number in mind that Rasheed Walker didn't want to sign for. The Lions do kind of structure their deals for the free agents to be, with some incentives and, the up to number, which is fine. I get it. The same thing happened with Carlton Davis, but he chose more guaranteed dollars. So I understand you can't get every free agent. Sometimes the player doesn't choose you. So there are factors where you can be in and give the same money, but lifestyle, taxes, whatever, affiliations. There's also like the reason why Dortch came here is he's got a tie to Drew Petzing. So you recognize that, the Lions are trying their best to get the players here in terms of the fits that they're looking for. And I think I'm comfortable knowing that you can get one more tackle in the draft. I think most people are mocking the Lions, that the two experts that brought out their mock drafts, and myself included. I had a mock draft, but I had the offensive lineman in the second round. The latest experts are having Monroe Freeling, Caden Proctor, Blake Miller. A lot of the experts have the lineman at number 17, and the Lions may be forced to move up to get the one that they want. But in the end, I do think you're going to get another lineman, and there's no way. I'm still would be shocked if the Lions start the season with a rookie left tackle. I think you just put Sewell there, and I think that within a training camp, he'll catch up to speed and be at the level you need him to be. And then you just have Larry Borum handle business. You gave him $5 million almost guaranteed fully. So I think that puts you in the spot, and let's just all have a laugh. And I do think too that a lot of these signings are exactly meant to spark comp. When Dan Campbell said it, I'm not BSing. I truly think that Larry Borum was brought in to push Giovanni Manu. Dortch was brought in to test Lovett. Damone Clark brought in to test Malcolm Rodriguez. You realize, wait a minute. You really are trying to get your starters better. You're trying to get these guys that are signed here competition. So I do think that there's direct messages happening here. And I get it. It let the best man win. And I respect it. But I'm more in line with more proven talent, guys that have shown on film that they can do something. You don't want guys that have been bounced. Like a lot of the guys bounced around the league. And so here's the fun part. You check into all their history, and they're all kind of the same, which is, I get it. That brings the price down. But Brad it's not, I don't want to say bargain shopping. He's value city shopping for guys that have been on IR, that are on teams that wanted them. But the Rams traded for McCreary. He didn't live up to expectations. They didn't offer him a fair enough contract to keep him. Same thing with Wanham. He was touted coming out of Minnesota, But in the last couple of years, they're all they're saying out of Carolina is, where was the production? This guy plays a lot, but he doesn't put up any numbers. He's good against the run. Well, okay. Stats matter. Now I get it in context, but he didn't have that many sacks last year. And so I just look at it like, man, you're taking a gamble on a handful of guys that and most people believe. And I just wonder, because it does start to beg the question, does Brad Holmes believe there's too many holes? Is this really a secret gap year? Because all of us, you, me, I believe Booner, if he gets his internet fixed, I think that he believes when he checks the internet that this team has a lot of offensive talent and can win a Super Bowl. Maybe the Lions are like, well, we do got some defensive holes. It might take an extra year to patch it all, and we can't invest, because I just would not in this year. If you had told me this list, I would have said, you guys are effing crazy. This is all a bunch of, prove it guys. I need some more impact. And they were out there. So I'm not disrespecting the guys they signed, but I feel like some guys that were left on the table and went elsewhere could have had more impact and got you further along at this stage. But you can catch up in the draft. Free agency's not over. But yeah, the fan base is left, by and large, outside of a handful of slappies. The fan base is grumpy as we talk.
All right. Can you guys hear me again? Am I alive?
You look good. You look great.
You. Are you there?
Come on. Yeah. Okay. Good one, Doc.
Are you there, Booner?
Yeah. Good one.
Are you there? I don't hear you.
Hey, can I ask you, Doc, do you have any free agent names currently still available that you're kind of looking around and potentially, that the Lions might still kind of go after and sign here with the cycle? I know the biggest thing is they still have open spots. They have a handful of, needs at the edge position still, offensive line. Is there specific names that you like that you want them to target over the next few weeks?
I look at it and I'm like, okay, all the needs that you say could be targeted in the draft. So I look at it and I say, man, the free agent list now is dwindling further and further. I guess the name, I don't think he signed, but I think that there's a connection to the 49ers. He really wants to play with his brother. I don't believe Joey Bosa signed. I feel like you can get him affordably. I don't want the Saints defensive end. I don't want Cameron Jordan. He's in his 30s. So I know Bosa is also in his 30s, but he's coming off of a semi-productive year. I look at it like, okay, without Epinesa, he went off the board. I'm not attached to really anybody else in free agency that's going to make me be like, wow. You look at it and you go, offense is pretty good, offensive line. I like the signing of Conklin. I think that was a very fair signing. He also has something to prove because, last year didn't go exactly as he planned. Hopefully we get more of the Jets version of Tyler Conklin than the one we got last year. So you just hope that there's an opportunity that the Lions can fill out, some need. But I think right now I'm ready to get to the draft and start looking at who is going to come in here and have impact instantly, because you're going to need it right away. And you realize, okay, linebacker, Nowaski's back, and I'm excited to see if Malcolm Rodriguez pushes forward and becomes a starter. And you got to hope too. This is the year too, and I'm going to start talking about it tomorrow on the Lone Wolves podcast. I'm going to start talking about it. You actually really do need Terrion Arnold, Ennis Rakestraw, Tyleik Williams, Sione Vaki. You need some of these guys to just do a little bit more. And if you get some of that production, then you'll have an opportunity to do some things. But yes, safety help would always be welcome. Izium is good, but he's maybe just a little bit undersized. So we'll see about the draft and who they target. And I think that there's some good ones that you can get. But free agency, man, I just think that the fans wanted this free agency to have 3 to 4 impact guys that can go up against what's going on in the division, because look at the division standings. Every team had at least 9 wins last year. I wonder how the Vikings are going to respond to Kyler Murray, but at the same token, it's just only going to get tougher. And at the very least, I just think the fans, and myself kind of included, it kind of feels like lateral moves to slightly worse is where we're at right now.
Now, I guess we'll ask, I know you mentioned it and talked about it, but more just specifically that edge room. I know DJ Wanham, he's an interesting player, Doc. I mean, he's had 8 sacks twice with the Vikings. How I'm looking at it is I don't think he's your bookend or anything like that. I don't think he's your guaranteed starter next to Hutch. But if you want to give him the benefit of the doubt, he is coming here, Doc, with more sacks than AQM before he got to Detroit. So maybe there is some upside there. I don't know what to make of him. I know you've probably done more research on just the player. I've tried to dive into him, watch a little bit of his tape, and he seems to kind of do a lot of the dirty work for the Panthers. I know he wasn't super productive last year, and he's not always he's not someone that as a pass rusher has like a bunch of moves or anything like that, but they gave him the same contract as AQM. Is that another guy that is kind of in what you were saying, the lateral or worse bucket?
No, actually, here's where it's better, is that you probably are going to get the similar style player in the draft to Al-Quadin Muhammad. This is a replacement for Marcus Davenport, which you literally got next to nothing from. So if you get anything from Wanham, then you are going to want him. So I think that's fair to assess when you look at the body type. He's more the big lumbering dude, powerful, can set the edge, and you hope that he falls into a couple sacks because some attention will go to Aiden Hutchinson. Look, out of college, it's the same thing. They felt like he kind of projected to be a role player. So in the league, you got to use him in the right opportunities. So also too, you got to mix and match. And I know people forget, but you're going to mix and match. You got Mekhi Wingo, you got Levi Onwuzurike. Maybe, we'll put him in the, maybe you got something there. So in a rotation with Ahmed Hassanin and a rookie, you now have a chance to put this guy in a position to not play all the snaps, but in the right opportunities in certain rundowns when you need the edge set perfectly and you're in a good position. Look, I think he's going to be a valuable role player. It's a 1-year deal. You see the fact that he had with the Vikings, you just got to tap into it. And so that's where the Lions hope that they find these diamonds in the rough and they find the secret to success. And so guess who's got a big, tall task? Casey Rogers has to get this young defensive line in order to be able to produce. So I like the player. I just would also say, you know what? I would have just kept Al-Quadin Muhammad too. $6 million in the grand scheme of things is relatively inexpensive, especially if you had some incentives. He kind of made it sound like they really didn't kind of tell him he was getting booted. It was just the writing was on the wall. You're old. And I will say this, Brad Holmes is aggressive in booting out 30-year-old players. I'm a fan of it. I definitely understand the process, but the process I'm not a fan of is the replacements have to be just a little bit better and make a little bit more of an investment to make the team better. But I think that the majority of the grades we gave to free agents have been B- to Bs, not too many B+. I think we were fond of the Dort signing, but we've been in the category of B- C+ range for all these signings. He's part of the puzzle. He ain't going to be the answer. He ain't going to be the biggest piece, but he'll end up having a role. And I think he'll end up being a player people like.
What do you think, by the way? I feel like I haven't asked you about this, and maybe we have, but like the Alex Anzalone departure, what do you think they do to replace him? Is this going to be a Derek Barnes show or a Rodrigo show? And I don't know if everyone feels comfortable with that. Do you think they add in free agency at linebacker, or do you think they're like, oh, we love our linebacker room, boys, like let's go? I feel like that's the most confusing part of this defense right now is Alex Anzalone leaving and them just not replacing him yet.
Yeah. No, listen, I apologize. I am taking your internet situation a little bit too silly here, but it's very funny. I do got to ask now because I'm curious. And
I think you're a little blurry now, Doc. You're blurry.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, you're blurry.
I'm rocking Xfinity. I upgraded to, I think, at least 1 TB, I think, for the services I need here because we got like 4 people all using a lot of devices. And sometimes it does flick out here in Macomb, but man, the internet services are not as great as they used to be. A lot of times some streaming stuff will freeze a little bit, but what are you using out there?
Honestly, I have no clue what internet I'm using. I mean, I'm not at my house. I'm at an office. I'm at an office.
Oh, you're blurry again. See, this professional.
At my house. We have I pay for the internet. I don't even know what it is. I just get charged monthly for it. But at the office, I don't know what it is.
I need you to know what it is. I need you to know the
Spectrum.
The
I have the Spectrum at home, actually. Spectrum at home. Okay, I don't know what the bandwidth.
Cancel them.
But I'm sitting here. I'm at an office. I'm not even at home, so I don't know.
Cancel them. Listen, Spectrum. Treat my man with respect. This is a high-end NFL reporter analyst, and he needs to have better internet services. This is like an advertisement for an upgrade. Listen, call him up. What you got to do is, okay, I don't want to teach you this kind of stuff, but as your mentor, you got to go to this thing called the speed test and you run it and it'll tell you how many TBs you're operating on. And if you're not at least 500, you got to get it right, brother.
Should we speed test versus each other right now? Me and you?
I don't even know how to get it live. I'll tell you right now what it
I'm
is.
speed
I'll do it
testing right now.
real fast. I'll do it. But what was your question was in regards to sports? What was your question?
Yeah, back to sports. What's the question? Let's get back to sports here. This Wi-Fi. I mean, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I mean, what is this?
I just speed tested. It wasn't a good number.
Mine's a good number. It's right now we're Mbps is over 400 right now. It's cranking up there to 500.
Yeah, Booner just got blurry as he was testing it, so it's probably,
I'm at 240. I tested at 240.
Okay, download Mbps is 556.95.
Yeah, mine's 240. So there we go. You got
double.
Me,
the doc is double as fast in regards to everything that's going on, my brother.
So the question? Well, I mean, what was the question?
I asked a question. It was about Alex Anzalone.
Anzalone replacement. Yeah, my favorite topic, right? My upload speed is 169. So this is good.
Oh, that's good.
Alex Anzalone. I look at the player and I go, man, he was good in coverage. I really valued the stuff that he did. And I felt like, man, if he would have came back to it, it might have been something that, one more year. But his contract, I think he got priced out. He got, $17 million for 2 years. That's a little rich for that market, especially when the team's going to Jack Campbell. So now I'm fascinated by Malcolm Rodriguez. I think they pencil him in today as the will, and Derek Barnes is your Sam. And then you got competition. I do think they're going to draft another linebacker, maybe find one in free agency. I thought Bobby Wagner would have been an interesting signing. I know a player that I had on my list, Logan Wilson, I think announced his retirement. So I do think that, who needs Anzalone when you got Damone Clark? No, I do think that Clark is going to fill the role more of the Grant Stewart and have a chance to compete. But I do really think they want, you always think that they love their own. I think Malcolm Rodriguez has a chance with Trevor Nowaski in a rotation to kind of fill the void with Clark and see what happens. So, and I do think you're going to get a rookie. You're going to get somebody in here. A lot of people have liked the rookie class to be able to come in here and contribute. So I think you're okay. Linebacker, I think, is your least concern. Jack Campbell is going to take another huge step forward. And I think that if you can just get a little bit more from, Derek Barnes, it can help you out. And like you said, I do realize, the players that are out there, they're okay, but I just think you can get the same kind of value in the draft and let them develop. And you got some experienced vets ahead of them.
Now, I do. I guess the question I had, because you talk about the linebackers, is like they're signing a lot of nickels. I thought you told us, Doc, and many of the media was reporting that Calvin believes in his defense, base defense, but they're signing nickels. So is he saying one thing and maybe we're going to see more nickel come the season? Because I don't see another, like you said, another starting linebacker. I mean, you could say Damone or Malcolm. These guys ain't starting, Doc. So could we see a situation where it's Derek, Jack, and a nickel out there more often?
Yeah. So here's the thing I will tell you. Calvin Shepard did say to the media boldly and directly, when I talk scheme, I'm lying to you guys. That's what he said directly. He said, I'm not going to tell you my scheme. And what the Lions are is a team that does this. And we all say, well, you should play this more and do that more. Well, the numbers dictate that they played base defense more, a lot of man-to-man, and we all believe that they should play a little bit more zone. But here's what the Lions want to do. They want to be able to be like a chameleon. If you need to play zone against a team, then you can do it. Now, you have some more opportunities. Unfortunately, McCreary's not the best at zone coverage, but I do think that Ennis Rakestraw has a chance, if he's healthy, to be a factor. DJ Reed and Tyrion Arnold both have to continue to evolve and play well. So the Lions defense is, I know we all want to label it, 4-3, this and that, but truly from how I've always heard it, they've always said, hey, we just want to be able to match up. And if we want to play nickel, to have the opportunity to get some guys to be able to do it. So they don't want to be locked into anything. And don't read into too much what Calvin Shepard says about his scheme, because he openly said it. And he said it, I think, into the camera. He said, guys, like when I talk about scheme, I'm basically lying. That's what he said. And you can go find it. It's on record. And it makes sense. He doesn't want to telegraph what he's going to do. But yeah, I do think that some tweaks to the defense, playing a little bit less base defense, might help this team out. And I do think you're going to see that. They're not going to telegraph it. They're not going to be like, hey, John, we're going to run a lot. We're going to, instead of the 60% base defense, we're going to run about 42%. No, they're not going to tell you that, but it's matchup based, but they just want to have the tools to be able to do a lot of different things. And I just hope that I know that Drew Betzing's happy. I just think that if we gave right now, Drew Petzing's got the 550 upload speed, and unfortunately, Calvin Shepard's got the Booner 250 upload speed, and we got to catch him up to speed in regards to the defensive talent.
We might just need to get new internet entirely with the.
I think you need to call a whole new defense. Yeah, maybe need a whole new company. You never know. But I have a lot of concerns about that defense, as you should. It's tough. You lost some good talent, and you're gonna hope that the guys that you brought in are able to fill the need.
Can you guys hear me? Am I back? Like, I mean, at this point, I might as well just let the doc just talk for the next 30 minutes instead of me even trying.
This is good. This is your best version, brother. This is your best version. Just hit us with the good questions, my friend.
I mean, am I blurry? I mean, what's happening here? How do I look?
No, you look good, boys. You look fine.
What happens is the viewer experience is when we go to you, you look blurry, and then the internet picks up. It's like, oh, we got to work. We got to see this face. It does extra work to put you in a spot. The internet's got to do some work to put you in a clear vision.
Hey, what do you think, Doc, about Terrion Arnold, and that whole situation? Do you think that he's going to be playing football for the Lions? And if so, do you trust him? Do you think they need to go draft a corner? Like, I feel like this is a conversation not a lot of people are having right now, these corner spots, because there are other holes on the team. So people are kind of just pushing the corner situation down a little bit. But there's still this TA situation going on that people, I think, keep forgetting about. And no one really knows what he's going to look like in 2026. What are your thoughts on TA?
Yeah, no, that's the TA, Ennis Rakestraw, Tyleik Williams, Ahmed Hassanin, Isaac Tesla. That young group, if you get a boost from the second-year players, look out. It can answer some questions, and I hope the smoke around Terrion Arnold is just that. But, this is still ongoing. The case is still open. Now, luckily, nothing against Terrion Arnold. But at the very least, there are some growing question marks regarding what the heck happened with this story. So that's off the field. On the field, listen, he's got to showcase first-round talent. He hasn't showcased it. He's, one game in, shoulder injury. One game in, productive. Oh, gets called out for not tackling efficiently, up and down. No, Terrion Arnold needs to declare his intentions to be a good football player. You can't talk the talk and be somebody doing a podcast and to declare yourself somebody that wants to be a Hall of Fame player and your play doesn't meet up to it just yet. It's a tough position, and it's very challenging to play that position in the National Football League with the level of talent, but he's got to take a step forward. So does Ennis Rakestraw. So does, quite frankly, DJ Reed. You paid him $16 million, and he was worse than Carlton Davis, in my humble opinion. So that secondary is a big question mark. And I think McCreary and Izzian fit in, but they're role players. I would have liked to have kept Daniel Thomas, but I'm also intrigued by some of the young safeties and defensive backs. You didn't get rid of all of the Legion of Whom, and a couple of them I think have a chance to showcase some skills and get out there and compete. So that's going to be a fun situation to take a look at. I do think Thomas Harper is still on the roster. I like what he brought to the table last year. And I realized that Nick something or other, I forget his name on the top of my head, he was a cornerback that came in and made some plays. And I feel like the defensive back room had a chance to compete, but there's going to be some question marks regarding Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. Those are draft picks. And every time we bring up, listen, I just think that for Ennis Rakestraw, it's great that all you had to share was, hey, checking in, shoulder's good. A little added message of, hey, guys, don't ask about my shoulder anymore. That's what the fans care about. You're a big player. You're a second-round draft pick. It's a big deal. I know the young guys don't want to hyper-focus on that, but when you've been injured.
But yeah, you're right, Doc. I mean, come on.
People are going to ask about it. That's the only thing at this point in time a lot of the fans want to know is, are you going to get out on the field? So I just would have left that little nugget out. Maybe I would have typed it up, had it ready, and then I will. That's funny. That's classic.
I think now I'm having issues now. Maybe we're getting hacked. Am I good?
I can't even hear it.
Nick Whiteside, and then blasting my internet.
Doc, I mean, the whole
See,
last time Doc was just talking there.
Nick Whiteside, and then my internet went out.
I don't even know what's happening right now. It's just like this whole. I think StreamYard might be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm back though now. I'm back though now.
I heard half of Doc's response to the question I asked, so I would hope it was a great response. Hopefully,
I did want to ask you now that we're back in the mix here. We brought up a who was it? Was it Steve Pozzolo or Pozzolo? Who I think is how you pronounce his name though, Doc. But he put out his list of like highest value in drafts since 2021 teams that have had the most value in their drafts. And it was like top 5 teams. The Lions were second, I believe, on that list. Rams were first. It was like Rams, Lions, paraphrasing, could be out of order, but the teams are essentially Rams, Lions, Eagles, Bucks, and one more team, Chiefs. So I want to ask you, all those teams but the Lions have a Super Bowl. In your opinion, for a team that had a stretch of drafting so well for so many years, kind of dipped the last 2 years, but what's the best explanation by the DOC to why those teams have won and the Lions have not won?
Yeah, no, it's very fair. And just to give a quick recap, all I said was Nick Whiteside, Thomas Harper, I like them. Terry Arnold, Ennis Rakestraw, got to step it up. They have to step it up. Second-year players, if they step it up, Lions have a chance to take strides forward with that defense. Now, I look at it and I saw that, and the fans loved it. They're like, oh, Lions number 2. But Booner hit it right, the nail on the head. You get a lot of credit for 21 and 22 and half of 23. Amazing. That is the standard by which Brad Holmes has a lot of respect across the league. You built a core. That's good, but that's 56% of the job is to do your job and make the team relevant. Good. It's relatively speaking, most people will say it's easier to do that, to draft higher, get good players, than it is to go from good to elite Super Bowl standard. And that's where he's fallen short. So I would not put the Lions at number 2. I'd put them on the list. You get credit for Hutch and Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta. You get credit. But I just would have put them 5th. But it's always funny when you see lists like that. It always looks like one of these things just doesn't belong here. And it's the Lions because the rest of the teams have won Super Bowls. So what's the reason? It's straightforward. I believe, I'm not speaking gibberish. I feel like it's straightforward. You can build a good team through the draft, but you can't half-ass it in free agency and half-ass it in trades and expect that you're going to compete with the sharks of the NFL, where after a while, Les Snead figured out, oh, when I'm at the point I need a quarterback, I'm going to make an aggressive move. To define aggressive is to trade a number 1 pick and trade 2 first-rounders to get a better quarterback for your system. That's aggressive. Howie Roseman, when he figured it out, oh, no, running backs, you don't pay them. No, you don't pay running backs. He's like, I don't care what you all say about running backs. I'm going to be aggressive, and I'm going to sign the best running back, and I'm going to transform my team. What we're saying is Brad Holmes, the fans, the Slappy fans are like, Brad Holmes, Les Snead took 8 years, and, this guy took 9 years. And it's like, you know what? With information that's given to you, you can steal it all. You can do the best of what everybody does. And what everybody's feeling is the reason why. All you got to do is ask the Slappies, why haven't the Lions won a Super Bowl? And if they tell you it's bad luck, then just erase them from your talk list and your group chat. The reason why the Lions have not won a Super Bowl is they've excelled in the draft up until 23. 24 and 25 did not give you the depth needed. You took too many chances. You took too many risks. And with 6 years, you have a lot of busts. You have a lot of hits, but you also have a lot of players not contributing. A lot of them. There's a lot. It's going to be almost now on 3 hands. It's on 2 right now. So the draft wasn't as good when you drafted lower. Why you didn't win a Super Bowl. Your free agency hasn't been good. Why you haven't won a Super Bowl and regressed. And your trades have been laughable. That's why you haven't won a Super Bowl. Once he adds the rest of the formula to his draft strategy, now he can become a great GM instead of one that's getting criticized right now by everybody.
Hey, Doc, I want to ask you then, talking about the draft there, break down to me like the Doc's perfect draft outside of the tackle in the first round, because you've already talked about that in the show. Outside of that, like when you're talking about like these fourth rounds that they have, the fifth rounds, like positional wise, what's the perfect draft for you if you're the Doc and you're looking at it? Because like you said, you need like you feels like you need at least three guys that can come in right away and help you out. All right, take the offensive tackle away in the first round. Now you need 2 or 3 guys after that post round 1. What positions do you feel like that they need a target in this draft that you feel like they could really get a guy that can come in and play right away?
Mm-hmm. I do want to request put this comment up from DOLL Dala DP. Put this comment up. Okay, this is where the Slappies don't understand the concept of where you're at as an organization. Okay, nobody gives a shit. Okay, the Lions are one of 4 teams that have never been there ever. Okay, I don't care if there are 30 horrible GMs. We're talking about Brad Holmes, and Brad Holmes has the right to take the good from everybody. Okay, I don't care if the Chiefs have a bad draft or the Eagles have a bad draft. They've done it. If the Bucks have it, they're irrelevant. Stop with the excuses. Now you are in the best position possible where we're talking about how does this team get to a Super Bowl where they've never been? Okay, so stop making excuses because it's clear. Hendon Hooker, if you had a better player, you'd be closer to the Super Bowl. Broderick Martin, you'd be closer to the Super Bowl. Sione Vaki, Kobe Sorsdahl, Jamar Jefferson, Levi Onwuzurike, Josh Pascal. You would be better off if he hit more. Okay, the best drafters are 50%. But when you start being aggressive and taking chances and taking projects, instead of going to get 2-3 offensive linemen, Manu would slot in and be in a spot. So when you start looking, you're pointing outward. Point to your general manager and make him do better. Make him hit in the draft and make him get instant impact players. Everybody says it, okay? You can be in denial, but it's out there. I'm not the only one saying it. I'm just saying it the loudest, okay? Everyone sees it. You went from the final results. What's the recipe for regression? Doing what the Lions are doing. That's the recipe. That's the recipe for regression, is to say, we build through the draft and we like our core, but we don't like anybody else. Oh, okay. And then when you invest, you got to invest dollars into good players. Come on. So a perfect draft, one simple philosophy, no projects. No projects. They all have to have instant impact. You don't get to redshirt. Giovanni Manu, guys, is not even in the conversation today. He's a draft pick. Oh, we don't talk about him because we got Aiden. Bro, Aiden Hutchinson is it's old news now. He got drafted in 21. The 23, 24, 25 draft are going to dictate your next 5 years. And if you don't hit on this 26 draft, guess what? I'm going to welcome you to the Buffalo Bills Steelers Club, where all the Slappies are going to be like, well, we're good. We get to the playoffs. It beats beating the 90s Lions. We never won. Stop it. Stop making excuses. He's not using all the tools, and he's trying again. Younger, cheaper, roster building. And I hope it works. I hope it showcases that it works. But right now, I'm looking at the Texans and the Rams as the 2 teams that are right there now that you got to chase to start the year before the draft. Perfect draft, any combination in the first, second round of edge and offensive line. Take care of it. Now, you go safety. You need maybe another linebacker. I would definitely take a quarterback. Those are the positions I like. I hope you get a developmental quarterback that you can use. Hopefully it's Green or Cole Payton. I hope it's one of those 2, but let's see if they target one. I just need impact. I just don't need guys and I don't need Brad to fall in love and go, I'm going to trade 4 draft picks to move up 50 spots to get the tight end that can block for me forever. Like, no. We're good. And we're in a spot where if they target impact, if they evolve the strategy and no more redshirt, you don't redshirt in the NFL. You just don't. Broderick Martin, obviously clear mistake. I think they learned from it. Hendon Hooker, clear mistake. They learned from it. And I think Giovanni Manu, they clearly learned, okay, maybe we should target a player from America and that might get him ready by year 3. By year 3, we're talking about Manu is not in the mix yet. He's not even the 3rd guy on the depth chart yet. Come on, guys. Well, every team whiffs. Well, every team doesn't draft a Canadian football player and invest capital to do it. So Come on. We're still sitting here. The Lions fans act like because they got to the playoffs and beat the Rams that they did anything. I look at it like their account is empty. It's empty. There's nothing in the case. And I look at it like you need to become an expert in every facet of the game of roster building. And I just don't think that they're there just yet. And it might be a philosophical problem. Talent wins in the NFL, period.
What was your question, Boone? You asked a question, and then
I was
Doc
just asking about. He went out on a different rant with the comment there.
No, you said perfect draft. You said perfect draft, right?
Yeah, perfect draft. Yeah, I thought you were still going about the comment. To be honest, Doc.
No, I am. I was going back and forth to say that the Lions fans that are thinking the Lions are better than they are in relation to that, it ties into the number 2 drafting team. Okay, if they're the second best drafting team, you're just going to say it's all injuries? No, it's a factor. It's part of the formula, part of the mix. But part of it is after the first 4 picks of 23, the rest of those drafts have not produced enough good players to keep you in the Super Bowl hunt. You have to have enough, and it's a tough gig. No, it's not easy. It's not easy to do. They're a playoff team. Even if as today, before the draft, they're a playoff team. We're only looking at this through the prism of where you put yourself deservedly. They are a Super Bowl team. And when you talk about a Super Bowl caliber team that should be with the talent that they have in the mix every year, then you should be hypercritical because every move can be the difference between a first-round loss to the Commanders or making a run to the NFC Championship game. That's the small specter of finite details that dictates winning in the NFL. It's just that razor thin. It really is. It could be 1 or 2 draft picks that you whiff on, could cost you the opportunity to win a Super Bowl. And that's the spot I love to be in, is to talk about it this way. Listen, that guy will be like, sure, Sheila, you want to charge me $5,000 for season tickets? Here's my money. You want to send me a jersey in a box that costs $100? Thank you. She raised the price on you, bro. 800%. Like, come on. You should expect a Super Bowl and expect more from your team, especially given the investment that they want you to make. Come on, expect more. Have higher standards.
Would you rule out a trade up, Doc, in the first round? I know Brad likes
Great question.
Yeah, I know they don't have. I know Booner went through it this week. We talked about it. Likelihood. It seems like you want quality players over quantity, but they don't really have quantity. Could you see a scenario in which they trade up in the first round, or are you thinking only trade back to get more capital?
Yeah, I like the trade down scenario. When in my talks on the podcast, I was saying, first, if you can get the extra third, if you can get 4 picks in the top 150, that'd be nice. Get back into the second round, use some capital to address some needs. If you can get that 3rd round pick and then use some more capital to get back into the second round, have 1 first rounder later on at 24 to 30, and then a couple in the second, and then 1 in the third, that would be lovely. The better players are there, and it gives you a better chance to have success. So, that's where the fun of this draft is going to be fun, because guess what? Everyone knows the Lions need an edge, and everyone knows they need an offensive tackle. So some of these GMs can play funny and trade right in front of the Lions at 16 to get a Blake Miller, or to get a Caden Proctor, or to get a Monroe Freeling. So it'll be fun to see if the Lions play if this team has this need, maybe we need to get up to 15. So there's an equal chance they trade up, because everybody knows what they need. So it's going to be a nice cat and mouse game. And these general managers are slick. They know, everybody knows everything, which I want. Hey, Booner, I wonder, how does all these general managers know what everybody's thinking about? I wonder if there's an NFL symposium that happens in Indianapolis where they can all chit chat a little bit and get together and hang out and have some cocktails and talk about some stuff. I wonder if there's a thing like that. I think a lot of these general managers definitely commingle, and they talk about things that they're supposed to talk about, maybe what they're not supposed to talk about. But these general managers are slick, and I can't wait to see if someone pulls a move right in front of the Lions to see what the Lions do. Nice cat and mouse game. This would be a fun draft.
Now, I have there's some questions from the people here, Doc. We'll start with D.O. Appreciate the super chat from D.O., $5. If one of the top edge guys fall to 17, which one would be more realistic to be the one to fall to 17? And would it make you take an edge first, or still a tackle if one were to fall?
Yeah, I would love it. In my latest mock draft, I had my 2 picks were Akeem Mesidor and it was Jennings Dunker. So I hope that there's a run on offensive linemen to bring some of the edges down. It'll be an amazing opportunity to see what they do. I'm thinking and leaning more toward if the national guys are leaning toward Kuiper did an offensive lineman, the Free Press did an offensive lineman, and Daniel Jeremiah did an offensive lineman. I went edge, so we'll see if we have an opportunity to go offensive lineman, edge offensive lineman, guard. We'll see. It'll be all fun to see. I didn't like Proctor. I think that many pundits believe he's the rawest. Freeling would be great. Blake Miller would be great. We shall see how it all shakes out.
Cartier says, mailbag, what would be considered a failure for Brad Holmes at the end of this season?
No, listen. And this is where I've been saying it in a lot of interviews. I say the reason I'm this way is I feel like I have the utmost respect for Brad Holmes. I feel like with the core that he built, he's put the core in a position to take shots to win a Super Bowl. I wasn't talking like this in 21, 22, 23. I was talking, get to the playoffs. Yeah, change the culture. This is great. Once you got the taste in 24, did you guys forget the hype? Like, you guys remember, I was on Hard Knocks. My little voice was on Hard Knocks. My little questions get answered. It was fun, man. You're making national news talking about the Lions, and you're covering a team. And it's way more fun to go and look at and say, wow, did this move help this team win a Super Bowl? So to me, the utmost respect I have for the organization is I'm looking at it from one prism only. It's not the slappy prism. It's is this move today helping you win a Super Bowl today? Tomorrow, the next story I'm going to write, 1,000 blogs a year, many, many videos, now doing podcasts. My prism is you're at the zenith. And to me, there's only one thing that's going to satisfy me. And I've also felt it from a fan perspective. Remember, 97, I partied on Gratiot when the Wings won. A pure elation. In 2000, as a junior in college, I partied all night when you win. Maybe this young group of slappies never understood what it feels like to win and what it feels like to celebrate a win. Michigan, yeah, but there was some specter of cheating. I don't know if you guys party in Ann Arbor. It's no fun there. When you party at Michigan State, it's a whole level of party. But when the Wings won, when the Pistons won, when the championship teams won, there were some awesome parties. And you're in that conversation, but you're close. So you should be talking about Super Bowl. And remember, if you don't like that kind of talk, there are a lot of slappy channels that will tell you and tweet on X, guys, the Lions are the best team in the division. The Lions are the best general manager in the world. The Lions are this and this. But guess what? When that season ends, when the season ends and they don't make the playoffs, you know what those people do? They take X hiatuses because they can't handle it. They're like, oh, what happened? They're living in the sports denial. So luckily, there's a lot of truth tellers out there that will keep it real for you guys. But failure, right now, the Lions are in the boat of get to the Super Bowl and win it. And that's it. That's the standard. That's the class you need to put yourself in every single day. And that's how you achieve it. And like I said, you guys know I don't want to talk about myself, but also just in life in general, hello. That's the recipe for success in life.
Whoa, what was that?
Oh, Booner, this is Mr. Sigmund Freud. Hello, Booner. And this is the legendary Sigmund Freud. And he is the psychological mentor that all of us slappy psychologists use to talk about the world of psychology. And in this realm, we talk like this. All people of all walks of life have entered my office, from millionaires, billionaires, to people struggling to make it check to check. And I ask them all the same kind of questions. And the success leaves clues. You got to be diligent in your pursuit of a championship, because guess what? Howie Roseman, he ain't sleeping for a championship. He ain't happy. Les Snead, he ain't happy. Nick Caserio, he ain't happy. So let's get the Lions on that train. And guys, trust me, when the Lions win a Super Bowl, I hope you guys get to experience it, because it's the best feeling in the world when you're the top of the game. Like, I'll never forget the rush of adrenaline that hit my body when the clock hit 0 and the Spartans defeated Florida. It's like no other. When the Wings won, the Pistons won, when you win a championship, you crave it. And the Lions gave us a little taste in 24. Remember, they were hyped up. And I want to get back to that. The The Lions were on a list today, and I know you guys read it. The Lions were on a list of an analyst's mouth that said the Lions took a step backwards in free agency. You think I'm happy to read that? No, I'm not happy to read that.
Let's see. Jesse says, Doc, is it fair to say 30 to 50% of this fan base is apathic now towards Brad? He's going to do him. We can't change it now. Second, do they add another vet DN, not a bum after OTAs? If so,
I'm not the one typing this. Jesse Adams, the fan base is unhappy because they're not sensing the same hype. They're not sensing the same level of player. They're sensing potential wasted opportunities. No, they're not apathetic. I would say nobody's apathetic. People are pissed. I get text messages on my phone. What? Teddy Bridgewater, 50 question marks. I'm doing a podcast and my phone blows up with transactions and things. No, this fan base, bro, there's like 90 podcasts out there daily doing great stuff. This fan base is awesome. This fan base supports 6 newspapers and podcasters, and hell no, they're not apathetic. No, they're not apathetic at all. My numbers are up from last year. Last year, I know where my rankings were compared to the rest of the league, and now they're better. And we cover it well. No, apathetic. No, they're pissed, as they should be, because they want that title. They're pissed. No, they're not apathetic. Who's apathetic about the Lions? They're making moves. People are talking about it. There's so many good nightly programming to look at. There's some on the other side that are like, oh my God, we want them. Bring on the Super Bowl. And so, hell no, this fan base ain't apathetic. There's a yearning to win. And guys, trust me, I could cover any sport. I'm credentialed to cover every sport, but I cover the NFL because it's the most juice. You know, you and I and Booner could spend 4 hours talking about the Lions, and we could talk about the history, the past, the present, the future. We could talk about an hour on every player signed. Are you kidding me? Apathetic? No, hell no. I could literally, I'm literally doing every show that invites me, and we talk about it over and over and over about the same things, and all in a different, passionate way. Hell no. Do they add a vet DN? I hope not. I think it's time to get hungrier and get a draft, get 1 or 2 in the draft. I love how you put not a bum. I hope that that's not the target. I hope that they get 2 studs, 1 twitchy defensive end and 1 pass rusher that has moves.
Burning Issue says, Mailbag, what would you choose for this year, Doc? A Panay clone or a Hutch clone?
Ooh, Burning Issues brings the heat. I love it. Great question. I think that I would take a Hutch clone. Defense wins championships, and I just can't stop. And also my yearning for defense got kicked off. You guys remember the Eagles won a world championship, the Lombardi Trophy, without blitzing once. Are you kidding me? They were able on the defensive line to win without blitzing. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And then Seattle, look at that defense. You had, which is the it's not indictment, but you carried a player that didn't exactly play well in the Super Bowl in Sam Darnold to a title on the heels of a great defense. So give me a Hutch clone, 15 sacks on one side, 15 on another. Lions can make do with if the Lions had a top 10 defense this year. I'll tell you this, if the Lions get in the top 8, there will be double-digit wins and some playoff success. If they can get that defense helping out the offense, turnovers, giving the offense more. The offense has a nice selection of talent. If the defense can get in the top 8, we'll get closer to the goals that we're all craving for this team. Get in the top 8. Let's go, Calvin Shepard. Get this team going.
Nick P. last question says, if Delane falls to 17, Lions share up to the podium. Doc, is a corner an underrated part of this draft that we're not talking about? Could they actually take a first-round corner?
Man. Listen, I would be shocked. A lot of people understand the best player available philosophy, but I just hope that the best player available falls in line with a defensive end or an offensive lineman. I think that, there are not Panay clones, but some good player clones, some Tate Ratledge clones that can come in and play and contribute. Panay is one of one. I wonder what, and I think it's true. I haven't gone and reviewed it because it's been free agency, but I think Larry Borum was the guy that ate and abused in the Miami practices. And it had to be. And what happened, you guys were there, I think, and people talked about it. He was making so many plays that they just had to just let the play keep going because Aiden was abusing Larry Borum and the Miami Dolphins offensive line. So I hope that, a good tackle is available. I think there are, and I think that there's a lot of good defensive ends. So I'm very happy. Cornerback, it's just a risky position. And you guys know me. Friends don't let friends play cornerback. It's a nightmare position. And you don't get the impact. I don't think there is a Deion Sanders where their first year comes in and they can just dominate the league. They take 3 years minimum. And just look at it. Okudah struggled. Terrion Arnold struggled. It's a nightmare position. So I'm thumbs down on the comment, Mr. Nick P.
Ben, last question. Actually, Doc, who's your first pick in fantasy?
Oh, fantasy question.
It's a good question, right? I'm so disappointed in fantasy. I would think that with Montgomery gone, I would put Jahmyr Gibbs up there. I think he's got 15 touchdowns, and also it's going to depend on PPR, maybe 1 or 2. I think that he's going to be the focal point of this offense, safety valve. Maybe take a risk on a Jahmyr Gibbs at number 1. What do you guys think about that? Fantasy, man, disappoints me this last
Jahmyr
year.
or Bijan, one of the two.
Yeah, Bijan. It broke my heart, man. I was like 12-5, 13-4, whatever it was, and I lost in the first round. And it happened 2 years in a row where losing the first round, you're eliminated. If I had stayed in, I would have scored like 200 points and 170. I would have easily won 2 years in a row, but I can't get out of the first round. I'm like the Lions of fantasy football, and it's embarrassing, and I'm sad. I haven't won. I'm in a league where my wife has been closer, ladies have been closer, and my nephew's been closer, and all people are saying is, well, you work in sports and you never won jack squat. And I'm like, yeah, I just haven't the luck of the fantasy hasn't found the Doc. And so thanks for the fantasy question. But let me say this to end on a good note. Michigan State should advance much farther than Michigan in the tournament. Make sure all of you guys know that in the bracket. No, I'm just kidding, guys. The tournament's coming up. Tomorrow is one of the great sports days in the world. You can drink, have a good time. Michigan's going to have a nice run at it. Michigan State, we're just hoping to survive and advance as many games as possible. This one's going to be fun. I think Michigan, if they figure out the 3-point shooting and get to it, they might make the Final Four and might make some people happy. And listen, tampering be damned, allegedly, supposedly. Michigan has a chance. Let them have a good time with it.
Who cares? Release it. I don't care.
Michigan State doesn't seem like they do it. They stink every year. I hope Michigan State gets out of the first round. That's the
I'm sure State tampers as well. Actually, no, I don't think so because Tom Izzo's all high and mighty, and when someone does anything
Tom
wrong,
Izzo's Mr. Integrity.
He's never been wrong in his life.
Right? Can you tamper a little bit? Can we find somebody that come to take somebody off of Michigan's roster and tamper a little bit? Who the hell cares? Yeah, go into that portal, figure it out. Like fans are clamoring for it, just like the fans are clamoring for aggressiveness and free agency. We'll clamor for the portal and some different type ways to win. That's all that matters, right, fellas?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's fair. We appreciate you, Doc. Good stuff today, my friend. Keep up the great work. And you guys can check out Doc at Detroit Podcast. Check out his YouTube. We'll talk to you next week, my friend.
Hey, Doc, too. I put the link. I'll if you want me to text it to you. I know you probably lived on a bracket, but I think the people will love if you join, if you throw in there so people know which bracket's yours.
Hell yeah, guys. Smash the like button for my friends. They do great work. Great interview with Conklin. Great stuff that you guys are doing. I check your guys' stuff out. You guys know it. You guys know I have much love for you guys. And let's go, man. It's time. It's time. Free agency. It wasn't frenzy, but let's start to see how the puzzle fits for these Detroit Lions. Let's talk next week, fellas.
There you go.
Thanks, Doc.
John Maakaron joining the show. Drop your mailbag questions to kind of end out the show. And it was a good show today. I mean, we talked to Tyler Conklin, the DOC. Cash it in. That's 2 good interviews.
By the way, just to go back to the Tyler Conklin thing, Jeff, I don't know if you've ever heard of Maurice Jones Jr. I just want you tonight, when you're just hanging out about to go to bed, just look up Maurice Jones Jr., either Arthur Hill highlights or USC. But USC, like, he was a freshman, and he is unbelievable. And if you like, I'm saying this in the sense of anyone could look at his stats and say whatever. He's like 5'8", and he was dominating the Pac-12 at USC as a freshman. I'm pretty sure he won Freshman of the Year, and it was incredible. And Tyler Conklin was right. Like Ray McCallum, like was unbelievable. He also there was a big guy I remember that played at Country Day with McCallum. And I can't remember who it was. He went to Ohio State and he was like 7'2". And I remember we played them, I think, and I was like only in 8th grade. But I just remember watching him and be like, this guy was like, it was like one of the first like massive humans I've ever seen in my life. And I'm just sitting there going, he was like 7'2". I think it might have been Eric Williams, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, he's from Saginaw.
Who?
Maurice Jones.
Oh, Maurice Jones. Yeah, he went to Arthur Hill, dude. Maurice Jones Jr. was an absolute dog. So many people used to come out of Saginaw. Saginaw used to have so many dogs, man. My boy Eric Davis that went and played at Texas. He was class of 2015. He was an absolute dog coming out. Darvin Ham, bunch of, obviously Draymond coming out of Saginaw High. Saginaw High had just a list of players that went to college that were just dogs, man.
It's a weird, it's like an interesting connection there that you and Tyler Conklin know those.
Well,
things.
I coached with Darv. I've brought Darv up a million times. Darv's one of the greatest humans of all time. Just an absolute down to earth family guy. And it hit me today. I was like, I'm pretty sure Conklin played at Northwood with those guys, and then Maurice too. Maurice was a good dude. I was hanging out with him all the time my last few years at Saginaw because he was in Northwood. And when he got done playing, he was still coming to like our open gyms and coming to our practices and stuff at Saginaw. So we used to have so many dudes, dude. We would run open gyms at Saginaw in the off season, and our coaches weren't allowed there because of NCAA rules, or there was all these things. So guess who ran like open gyms and stuff? Me. Like it was players, but it was also like who's kind of making sure everything's good to go. It was me because I wasn't an official licensed coach for the NCAA. So, dude, we had dudes coming through. Like one day we had Kyle Kuzma come through when he was at Utah still. He was still playing at Utah. So we had Kyle in there, and that was a good one. Everyone knew kind of like, hey, he's probably going to the league in a year or two. But it was still when he was just getting going at Utah.
That's crazy.
I'm trying to think. We've had some other dudes, man. We just any Saginaw legend you could think of probably played an open gym in the 4 years I was there. Or Flint, too. So many dudes from Flint. Torrey Jackson, dude, Torrey's my guy. Played at Notre Dame, one of the best point guards ever from Notre Dame. One of the best high school Michigan basketball players of all time, Torrey Jackson. Coaches at Catholic Central now. He's good, bro. Played for Mike Breen or Mike Bray. Sorry.
MD Gladiator Mailbag, is this the most turnover in free agency since 2021 for the Lions?
I think it is. Don't you think? I think this is the most since and that's since before they've kind of fully rebuilt there. So I would say
Yep. It is the most turnover. Yes, there's no question. Meme Studio Jeff, when are we going to finally get who Joey Bosa and Cam Jordan are going to sign with? That they could take a while, to be honest. Those guys are in a position where they don't have to sign anytime soon. To be honest, I mean that they don't. They can wait. They can do it after the draft, because then teams are getting more desperate if they weren't able to get a certain position.
Pay more
especially
money.
Those two. Yeah, it depends on what, because Cam has offers on the table. You already talked about it, so I don't know. That's the thing. It's like, are you going to wait? Are the Lions one of the offers? Have they not made an offer? That's the $1 million question. Burning issues mailbag: an actual Lion at the end or a gorilla at offensive tackle?
Actual.
You know what? Give me the Lion at the end.
Oh, that would be incredible, dude. He would destroy a quarterback. Quarterback would never get a pass off.
Oh, actually, a gorilla at offensive tackle would do. I mean, you just run behind him. No one wants to.
I mean, just like one hit to someone, they're flying across like Jared Goff is clean forever. I would still go to the edge rusher though, because a Lion, dude, he would maul a
like a piece of steak back there where the quarterback is.
Yeah, I mean the quarterback is the steak. He's like train him like Bobby Boucher. Remember Bobby Boucher? Like the head would turn into something else. It's like the quarterback, the Lion's just like. Or have you ever seen Madagascar when the lion, like everyone's head starts turning into steak, and he's like,
yeah. That'd be it. I didn't say that's just $2. It's just McDonald's. Don't worry, we're doing the McDonald's.
Yo, yeah, I actually was gonna call you yesterday and be like, hey, when do you want to do that? Because we got to get that. We have to get that done. We have to.
Yeah, it's getting done. We're going to end up doing it. One of these weekends, we'll do it. Probably on a Saturday because it's a 24-hour challenge. And, it'll be an all-day thing. So, yeah, don't worry. The McDonald's thing is happening. I'm not
We
walking
did
away.
say we would do it after opening day. So opening day is the end of the month. So this is going to probably be an April thing.
Yeah. All right, we'll get out of here. Appreciate you all. Appreciate the DOC. Appreciate Tyler as well. For those who missed the Tyler interview, you can go back and watch it. It'll be posted tomorrow on our YouTube channel as well. But we'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 p.m. Until then.
Hey, join our bracket. We have 160 people still in here. We only have 20-something people in the bracket. You get a free Lions jersey if you get first place and some merch if you score underneath. I'm going to drop it one more time. This is your last chance because tomorrow morning the tournament starts. All weekend football or basketball. Sorry, basketball. I just put it in there. Make sure you go submit your bracket. Everyone, right now.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Free Lions jersey. Just get first. It's free. Love you guys.
Peace.